I'm a Southside guy. You know that.
Are you?
Yeah.
I was not aware of that.
I mean, you know that. Mm-hmm. But obviously, you do want to see your neighbors and your in-town rivals do well. So pulling for the Indians and pulling for Coach Nicky, he really, when you think about it, you think about pressure in town, the pressure's going to be on. Simply because of where Tab Val has that program, where he had the program.
I see what you're saying, but I also question that.
Really? Is this an argument for after the break?
Can we have it before we talk to Chris?
No, we need to talk to Chris McNeil. I don't want to keep him waiting.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have it after the conversation, Chris.
All right, so when we come back, we'll visit with Chris McNeil. Toss the break. Before toss the break, just kind of explain to everybody his situation.
Chris McNeil is a former basketball player at Southside. He was one of the key players on their championship team 2 years ago. He was a freshman at Western Kentucky this past year. Had one of the more notable freshman seasons in Western Kentucky history, and maybe for the entire country this past year. Did he have their record for like most assists and most points?
Most assists by freshman.
Okay, and then something happened toward the end of the season that resulted in his coach resigning, and he and a couple other players not being on the team anymore. And Greg will talk with him about that, and just kind of look ahead to what's next for him as he tries to figure out what his next college basketball team will be.
This is Varsity Focus Live on WBFG 965.
There's something special about Hardin County. Maybe it's the way the river bends at Savannah. Maybe it's the historic homes or the battlefield at Shiloh. Legend has it, once you put your feet in the water at Hardin County, you'll always come back to the memorable places and friendly people. The area is rich in history, full of outdoor recreation, and is a tourist destination for over 2 million people a year. This message brought to you by the Hardin County Convention and Visitors Bureau. For more information, log on to tourhardincounty.org.
It's the Grand Slam Sale at Sarah, the #1 Kia dealer.
We're slamming the competition, and we will beat any dealer's advertised price.
New 2015 Kia Forte EX, $1,000 below invoice, and you keep all the rebates and incentives. New 2016 Kia Soul, $1,000 below invoice, and you keep all the rebates and incentives.
0 for 66 financing and no payments for 90 days.
It's the Grand Slam Sale going on now at Sarah, the #1 Kia dealer.
And at SarahKiaUSA.com.
Hi, this is Dr. Chris Alexander. In my practice, sports-related injuries are common. Sprains, strains, stingers, tendonitis, disc injuries. There are many ways to damage muscle, joint, and nerves in fast-moving and impact sports. Don't allow a minor irritation to become a lasting problem. Get a proper evaluation after any questionable injury or for those nagging aches. Treat it, ice it, rehab it, and get back onto the field. I can help. Alexander Chiropractic Clinic, Lexington.
Welcome back to Varsity Focus Live with former sports guy Greg Hammond and Jackson Sun sports editor Brandon Shields.
This is 96.5 WBFG, Parker's Crossroad, ESPN for West Tennessee.
Don't bother looking at the scoreboard. Don't bother looking at the clock. Got it?
Yes, Coach.
At the end of the game, you can look at that scoreboard. Got it? But in between time, you celebrate the game by the way we play.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Varsity Focus Live with your hosts, Greg Hammond and Brandon Shields.
Chris McNeil helped lead the Hawks to the Class AA state championship. McNeil was a 2015 Mr. Basketball finalist and went on to a breakout freshman year at Western Kentucky University. Chris McNeil's kind enough to join us today on Varsity Focus Live. Chris, you know, it was reported several weeks ago that you were no longer with the Hilltoppers due to disciplinary action by the school. Naturally, people want to know what happened.
You know, one of those things, I was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
You know, didn't do anything wrong, but it's one of those things that I'm looking past right now. I'm looking forward to my future.
Chris, you had a good run with Coach Ray Harper at WKU. He's now at Jacksonville State. And just for the folks at home or in the car who may be listening, not familiar with the Jacksonville State, the Gamecocks compete in the OVC with UT Martin, Murray State. Have you considered Jacksonville State as your next stop?
Yes, sir, I have. They've been recruiting me ever since, he made it official. I actually go on a visit next week. So I'm just looking at all my options and trying to make the right decision for myself.
Now, I would imagine you've received some interest, not just from JSU, but from other schools now that you've been released from your scholarship at Western. Can you share with us what some of those, new recruiting conversations have been like?
It's been like just basically, Division Ones. They want to know, what happened about the situation from me personally, and junior colleges. They just try to persuade you to come to junior college. Really, I always tell them that when they always ask what Division Ones are looking at you as of right now, I tell them, and their thing is they feel like I'm a way better player than going to the OVC. So they always say, they can help me get to that next level where I really want to be. So, those are the conversations as of right now.
All right, so just as far as housekeeping and keeping up with numbers, the reason junior college is an option is because you could go JUCO and play immediately, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And if you did go D1, you'd have to sit out a year?
I would, but at the same time, with what's going on, like the situation about me getting suspended and with my coach leaving, they could also do a waiver. But I also feel like if they were to do a waiver, I would rather just sit out anyway, just because I could get better in the year and I could just see the game. I have a year just to improve my all-around game and just focus on academics as well.
Chris McNeil joins us on Varsity Focus Live. I want to thank him for taking time out to talk with us. As a freshman, Chris, your assists total, 134 assists is the most ever by a Western Kentucky freshman, tied for 10th most overall in this season. So you've got the stats, and again, it's like being recruited for the second time. Do you have a top three you can share with us?
I do not have a top three as of now, but I do have a small list of JUCOs that if JUCO is their option, that I would be I do have a list of those schools, and those schools include Northwest Florida, Southern Idaho, and a school named Wabash. It's in Illinois. So those are my top three junior colleges. But Division I wise, I'm really considering Tennessee Tech and Jacksonville State, based off the situations after my sit-out year. They want me to come in and run their team. The ball is going to be in my hands, and both schools project me to be a 3-time all-conference guy. Maybe 1 to 2-time conference player of the year, an All-American. So, they just got, as of right now, those two schools caught my eye because of the situation after my sit-out year.
Certainly, you didn't expect to, be here a year ago last year, opening up your recruitment again. But, I think you may have used the word frustrating time, but I guess in some regards it's also an exciting time. Would that be a correct word to use?
Yes, sir, because I feel like earlier, last week, one of the assistants, which he's still there, Chris Shoemate, he had told me, and he also said to some coaches that I've talked to, recently that he feels like, it's a messed up situation. He said, I just was a part of honestly, he said I was a part of a bad deal that went on with, that's for like another day, but it was a lot that went on. It's inside stuff going on, so he just felt like I was a part of a bad deal. So he said, it's a messed up situation, but at the same time, he feel like it might be, a blessing might come out of this because of the fact that he's always felt like I was a big time level dude, like I could play on a bigger stage and all that. So he does feel like it could be a blessing come out of this. So that's one thing.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
So that's one thing I've kind of looked at. When he said that, that's when it made me realize, like, maybe junior college is an option because, most kids go to junior colleges, especially the good ones, and they'll go to a high major the year after that. But at the same time, like I realized, the schools that I just named to you that I'm really considering, which is Division I, are considered low major programs. So I feel like what he said right there about it might be a blessing that I might be at the high major level, I feel like I'm not giving myself a chance to really experience, and really take in what he said, because I would still be at the mid-major to low major level if I was, go to either Jacksonville State or Tennessee Tech. So honestly, JUCO is very much an option. So right now, I'm just, looking at everything and just want to make the right decision for myself personally.
Greg Hammond and Brandon Shields here on Varsity Focus Live. Our guest, Chris McNeil, a former Southside Hawk. He was a 2015 Mr. Basketball finalist, went on to a stellar freshman year at WKU as circumstances have it. He is opening up his recruitment once again. Chris, as you reflect on your first year of Division I basketball, what you had to do to prepare for your freshman year of college, what part of your skills did you focus on the most last summer?
Going in, I focused on, really learning how to attack the pick and roll, learning how to play off it, and using my IQ to really just make plays off of it. Going in, I also had a lot of talks with Coach Fuller, who, advised me that I need to, just, calm down on all the dribbling and the oohs and ahs, because, I'm playing against grown men now, and that's not the most effective thing to do. He said, yes, sometimes it can be useful, but at the same time, you got to learn how to just, stay under control and, stop using all the dribble all the time, like one dribble and go, stuff like that. So I really learned how to play using less dribbles than what I normally did in high school. So, and then also when I got there, I worked on my body and learned how to I got stronger and more physical when I got there.
Chris McNeil joining us. Chris, talk about your long-term goals. You talked about the difference between playing at a low to a mid-level D1 to maybe even breaking into a high D1. Talk about your long-term goals and how you plan to reach them. And, this is both basketball or professional goals.
Okay. It's kind of, it's funny because one of my assistants was recruiting me to Western Kentucky. We just had a talk 2 days ago, and he asked me the same thing. When we trying to figure out what we're going to do, what I'm going to do with my decision, and he said, what's my, what's the long-term goal? And, the long-term goal is obviously to make it to the NBA, play professional ball. But at the same time, he also said, but as of right now, what's like the short-term goal to lead to the long-term goal. And like the short-term goal that I said was to go to a school where I can put up the right amount of numbers, stats, and, wins to give myself a chance to play at the next level, either the NBA or let it be, overseas somewhere. So honestly, you know, my plan is to just get somewhere where I'm comfortable. I know I can get better as a player and, you know, academically handle my business there. And I really would like to put up enough numbers to give myself a chance to play pro ball. You know, like other people tell me, like recently they saying, honestly, it doesn't matter where you go. If you're good enough, they're going to find you. And I realized that, and I realized you don't have to play at a high major to get those looks. Because, like I said, if you're good enough, they're going to find you. So right now I'm just trying to focus on what situation is best for me. Let it be JUCO or Division I. So wherever I go, I just want to know. I want to be in the right situation. I want them to put me in the right situation to be successful on and off the court.
Chris, one more question before we let you go. I know many of your former Southside teammates are doing well. We just saw Jalen Barford just a few days ago. I know he's getting ready to start at the University of Arkansas. But there's AJ Merriweather, Malik Hicks. How often do you guys talk, get to see each other? What's that been like since you graduated from high school?
You know, I've been texting Jalen for the past, I want to say 2 weeks. Just on his, you know, I've been wanting his feedback on the whole junior college thing because, you know, leaving high school, I didn't have plans on going to junior college. You know, I was always qualified, so there wasn't an issue. But, you know, like you said, I mean, things happen, so I just want his input on, you know, junior college, and we've been talking about that. And actually, I just seen, you know, Malik a couple days ago, and I also saw him last night too. So we've been talking. We actually talked about if I were to go to JUCO, would he mind going to the same college? You know, so we've been talking about that a tad bit, but I think he wants to stay, you know, closer to home a little bit. But I told him, you know, I'm thinking about going, you know, elsewhere to another state. But and then AJ, I haven't just talked much to AJ, but he did. We did text like 2 weeks ago. You know, he had told me that his coach was his coach had wanted to recruit me and all that. But out of the three, I haven't really talked to AJ, you know, as much as Jalen or Malik.
Well, a lot of folks back home here in West Tennessee hope to see you do well. Is there anything you want to say to family and friends back here in West Tennessee?
I would like to say, you know, thanks for everybody for supporting me this past year, and, you know, like they did in high school, and that, you know, everything is okay. Everything's going to be fine. It'll work out for the better, and, you know, that's it.
Chris McNeil, thank you so much for joining us on Varsity Focus Live.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Ram Truck Month is on at Helms Motor Company in Lexington. Helms has the largest selection of Ram truck in West Tennessee with new Ram 1500 Crew Cab with up to $11,000 off MSRP or 0% interest for up to 60 months. Helms has the largest selection of Ram Heavy Duty in West Tennessee, including Ram 2500, 3500 with either Hemi V8 or Cummins diesel. They have a huge selection of new Jeep, Dodge, and Chrysler models like the all-new Cherokee starting at $21,995, new Chrysler 200 starting at $19,995, and huge selection of Dodge Charger and Challenger at the lowest prices of the year. We have over 100 quality pre-owned models on the lot at all times with prices and payments to accommodate any budget. We have a large number of vehicles starting under $10,000, and we have one of the largest selections of pre-owned trucks in West Tennessee. With over 250 new and pre-owned on the lot at all times, Helms is sure to have something for you. Remember, you can shop our entire inventory online 24/7 at helmsmotor.com. Hurry in to Helms Motor Company to take advantage of all our specials and save big today because these offers won't last long. That's Helms Motor Company with over 50 years experience helping meeting your needs at Highway 412 East in Lexington. Call 888-234-2057 or see them all at helmsmotor.com.
Down here, you wouldn't really call us wine country. We're not known for our opera singers like Italy. The surfing here isn't really great. Neither is the yacht racing. Scares the fish away. We don't make great kung fu movies. Heck, we don't even have a Loch Ness monster. What we are known for here is turning strangers into friends and making connections that last. I guess you could call it the local industry. It's what First Bank is famous for. Sure, people like the accent, but it's what we put the accent on that shows we're a real community bank. Local decision-making, checking with rewards instead of fees, a real person at the other end of the phone line, people who believe in you, and the places where we live. Down here, we make good neighbors, which is what makes us great bankers. Plus, if you stay for dinner, there's always pie. Switch to Southern-style banking at First Bank, where the accent is on you. Local since 1906, member FDIC.
Your number one high school football fans. Auto Owners Insurance and Maddox Insurance Agency is a winning combination. They'll work with you to insure your home, auto, business, and life to keep everything you value safe, sound, secure. Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people. Visit Maddox Insurance Agency in Camden, McKenzie, Jackson, and East Main Street in Huntingdon. Leon and Marge Tucker bought City Drug Company in 1965, and for the last 49 years, the Tucker family has been serving Carroll County and surrounding areas with the best possible care. Tim and Diane Tucker purchased the business in 2011, and Tim strives to continue the tradition today. Mr. Leon's motto was, "We may doze, but we never close." For all your pharmacist needs, stop by City Drug Company, 630 R.B. Wilson Drive, Huntingdon.
Did you know that bestcolleges.com recently ranked Bethel University's online programs the second best for a Christian liberal arts university in the United States? But did you also know that Bethel University offers an on-campus experience for traditional undergraduate students and that these programs have earned recognition for excellence as well? Recent high school graduates, call today. Let us help you take that first step toward your future. Call 1-844-497-0265 to get started.
Welcome back to Varsity Focus Live with former sports guy Greg Hammond and Jackson Sun sports editor Brandon Shields.
Welcome back into Varsity Focus Live, show number 41. We'd like to thank our guest earlier, Donnie Nicky, formerly of the Tennessee Titans, now the head coach of the Northside Indians. Also, like to thank Chris McNeil for his time joining us here on Varsity Focus Live as well. Just to kind of recap the McNeil interview, he's got a couple of JUCOs he's looking at, and he's also looking at some OVC schools. He's got a lot to kind of think about now, whether he's going to look short-term or long-term as far as what's the best for his career. And but great conversation as well with Donnie Nicky.
It was a good conversation. Just getting to know him a little bit, coming into the area as he's taking over the Northside football program, and also somebody else to kind of get to know here in the area. A new face for people who watch WBBJ sports coverage here around the area. His name is Ahmad Hicks, and he is on line 2 here with us. Ahmad, are you there?
I am.
Well, first off, welcome to West Tennessee, and second, thanks for coming on.
I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, no problem. First off, on Thursday nights I'm in here. I hadn't checked with my other writer, Michael Odom, what he's doing, but did everything pretty much get rained out around West Tennessee?
For the most part, a lot of early cancellations when the rain first started coming down. I guess teams just felt like their fields wouldn't hold up tonight. So, yeah, a bunch of teams canceled. I know a few teams who said they had trucks. They may still give it a go, but I didn't get any confirmation from the ADs on that. So, as of my knowledge, I don't think many teams are playing in the area today, aside from a few soccer games. But I could be wrong, and if I am wrong, I'll look to cover that tonight on our local 10 o'clock show.
Hey, Ahmad, people say, Hicks, is he from Bolivar? Have you got that yet? Have you got that yet?
No, I haven't gotten it yet. I'm really not out in the community aside from working all day, at WBBJ. I go home and I have a dog to attend to, so he gets pretty much a lot of my time, should I say, when I'm outside of work. But I have met a few people that have asked me, hey, are you working with WBBJ? I've seen you on TV, so that kind of puts a smile on my face when I walk around town.
So where are you from, Ahmad?
I'm from St. Louis. I grew up, born and raised in St. Louis. Went to college in Illinois at SIU Carbondale. So, yeah, I graduated last May in 2015 and landed this job in March. So just happy to get going in this industry.
SIU Carbondale, is that small college D1 or is that D2?
It's a D1 AA. Okay. So yeah, just a step down from D1.
Is that OVC?
We're actually in the Missouri Valley Conference, but we play a lot of OVC teams as well. So yeah, it's pretty good school. I loved it there. Loved my time there. Played football there. Was a member for the football team for 3 years. So I enjoyed every last minute of it. But now I'm in the real world, as our parents used to say growing up. So just getting a dose of reality now.
Growing up in St. Louis, does that mean you were a big Cubs fan growing up?
Oh, no. Huge Cardinals fan. I mean, I love the Cardinals. Pretty much, we had the Rams. They're no longer there. And we have the Blues. But there's not much to root for aside from the Cardinals. So year in and year out, I was a huge Cardinal fan. That's schools where I went to school, Kirkwood High. Their school district was really big on Cardinal baseball, like every other school, high school out there. So we celebrated a lot of Cardinal things. Cardinal opening day was huge in St. Louis, or whenever they got to the playoffs, which was pretty frequent in my time growing up. So, yeah, but the Cardinals always gave us something to cheer for and something to look forward to in the summertime.
So describe like kind of the sports environment in St. Louis. I mean, I'm sure Cardinals are number one for most everybody's minds. I'm sure the Blues are probably now number two. Probably a lot of people are ticked off at pro football in general right now. I mean, you mentioned the school system was behind the Cardinals. Like, would y'all have days out of school just for opening day or playoff games or whatever?
At my school district, I can't speak for other school districts, we wouldn't have days off of school, but every TV that we had would be on the Cardinals game. So, you know, you walk around, you can watch the Cardinals opening day. And it was only like that for opening day, or say a big playoff game, you know, wild card game that starts at 1 o'clock while we're still in school. They put that up on all the monitors, and they let you follow that. I would say, aside from baseball and a little hockey here and there, I mean, fans, you can always go to a hockey game and have fun, but they're huge soccer fans in St. Louis.
Really?
We don't have a major league soccer team down there, but they do have a smaller level, the St. Louisans, that they just got, I think, either last year or the year before, and it's just a really big soccer town. Whenever they have friendlies come to Busch Stadium, it always gets close to sellout capacity. I mean, fans just really love soccer down there. They're lobbying hard to try and get an MLS team in St. Louis. So I wouldn't be surprised if that stepped in instead of NFL. And like you said, fans are really bitter about the Rams now. They say they threw away all their St. Louis gear, said they're no longer Rams fans. So a lot of bitter folks, and then a lot of people who weren't Rams fans to begin with. So that's just kind of St. Louis sports.
I know you can't really speak for everybody in the St. Louis sports market, but you personally, on Sunday afternoons this fall, what are you going to do? Are you going to find another team to cheer for, or are you just going to be like, I'm going to take a nap after all that college football on Saturday?
Well, see, I'm a really big college football fan anyway. I prefer college sports over any professional sports if I had to choose. But, no, I would still stick with the Rams. I first grew up, the Rams were the reason why I enjoyed playing football and wanted to play football. I grew up watching the 99 Rams that happened to go on and win the Super Bowl. So
who they beat?
Pretty good. The Tennessee Titans.
Was that who that was?
So that's
really, guys. That win was a bit of a stretch.
Really, guys.
I mean, so that's who I grew up like, and I mean, that was my first year watching football, sitting down watching the greatest show on turf. So they really made me love football, and every year after that, I was kind of like, the next year's our year, the next year's our year. You know, the typical cliche type of Sam for Rams fans.
And then you got Sam Bradford, and that just went down the toilet.
Yeah, and we all thought Sam Bradford was a hero, but then he couldn't stay healthy, so we kind of realized we needed to move on. So I guess now that they're moved on, Los Angeles, I'll still be a fan. It's not like, you know, I have any other favorites outside of the Rams, so I can't just go pick up a new favorite team. You know, I like watching a lot of players in the NFL. It's a lot of talent there, but Rams will still be my number one team, and I would love to see what they do in L.A.
So you played football growing up?
I did. I played football from the age of 6 until the age of 22, so a pretty long football career, I say.
So you played it in college, too?
I did. I played at SIU Carbondale. I was teammates with a guy who plays for the Minnesota Vikings now, my best friend. He plays tight end. He broke all of the Missouri Valley Conference records for tight end while we were there, his 5-year career. And now he's playing for the Vikings. So, yeah, I got to play with one of my best friends and, you know, just got to meet a lot of people, you know, learned a lot, taught me a lot of real-life lessons and valuable lessons towards the real world. So thankful for all my time spent with the Salukis.
What position did you play?
Played wide receiver. I was a wide receiver. I walked on there, so I wasn't a scholarship player, but it taught me a lot about hard work, fighting for what you want, going out and getting it, not getting stuff handed to you. So it taught me a lot. And I loved every minute there.
Now, Saluki is an Egyptian dog, correct?
Yes, it is. An Egyptian dog. One of the fastest dogs, actually.
Now, Brandon, did you know that?
I did not know that.
See? Get out of the Sammy Kershaw book and get
You
some
learn
culture.
something new every day.
So you're a receiver. What's your 40 time? Like right now, what's your
See, now that's just stress right now. I haven't played football in almost 2 years.
Okay, what was your 40 time at its...
In my prime, I think my fastest 40. Some people will say 4.6. Some people will say 4.5. I was on the clock as a 4.5, but it wasn't laser time. So I feel like if you would have put me at the NFL Combine with the laser, I would have probably ran a high 4.6. I wasn't a really speed guy. I was more of a quickness type of guy. So, and smart. I knew the game. So those were my strengths. I didn't have all that size and all that speed, though, that coaches love.
I'm a 4.3 guy. I was more of a speed guy when I was playing.
I wish. If I was a 4.3 guy, I don't think I would have been an SIU probably. I probably would have been somewhere bigger.
I was going to say, if you got invited to the NFL Combine, you wouldn't be talking to us right now.
No, definitely not at all. Hopefully I'll be somewhere training or getting ready for minicamp, but that's not the case. I'm working here in Jackson, and I'm loving every minute of it, and just trying to get adapted to the city, meet new people, contacts and everything like that, find out what's going on in my backyard so I can bring it to the viewers at home.
So, Ahmad, it's one thing to be a college broadcaster, you get your first on-air job. So, can you tell us maybe the funniest thing, the weirdest thing, maybe something unique that surprised you? Just you get to WBBJ, you get on.
You said something unique that describes me to help me get on there, or something that happened?
Yeah, something that happened once you got your first real TV job.
I would say just this past Friday. I mean, you never know what happens with live TV. I mean, viewers at home, you guys say if a reporter messes up or anchor messes up, they stumble on a line or the wrong video comes up. It's kind of like at home, it's like, hey, what is that guy doing on camera? But, it can be a big family. It's people behind the camera that have to push a lot of buttons and whatnot. Yeah. So Friday I was had a bunch of highlights going in. It was one of my first days. It's my second day anchoring. And, I was just trying to nail my highlights. I was trying to, just be perfect with all my ad-libs and get all my names correct. So I was going through, I was grooving, and then a highlight was supposed to come up for my next video, but it didn't come up. A Titans full-screen video came up of their schedule. So I kind of stood there and was just like, can't stand here and not talk on, live TV. So I had to ad-lib, and I had to just completely go off the top of my head about the Titans schedule. Then we moved to the next video, the Spurs video. So it was good. I mean, this is stuff that happens when you're practicing and you're doing your run-throughs before you actually go live and doing your rehearsal periods. And you kind of practice those things happening, but you never can account for them until you're actually in front of that camera and the red light comes on. So it was really funny that it happened on my second day because somebody told me on Wednesday before I went on air that I need to be prepared for anything because this is, a station where mistakes happen, and it's good to get them out the way here. And so, that mistake happened on Friday, but I laughed about it, handled it well, and just got to take the ups with the downs sometimes in this business, but it's all fun at the end of the day.
And now you don't have to worry about being perfect.
No, I don't at all, so if you're...
I'm being totally serious when I say that.
Yeah, I mean, with this business, you want to perfect your craft on there, and you want to be perfect every time, but, when you're having a conversation on the radio or with your friends at home, you're not gonna get through every sentence or phrase, perfect. You're gonna have stumbles when you're at home talking to your friends. So it kind of happens, don't beat yourself up about it. Don't be too hard. You move on and you take care of it the next day. And I anchor 3 times a day, 5 days a week. So if I do mess up, they'll see my face the same time the next day doing the same thing and hopefully doing better than I did the day before. So I try not to get too down on myself and just focus on the next thing. As coaches, I would say move on to the next play. Well, I like to move on to the next sportscast and make sure I fix any mistakes that I had and just keep getting better each and every day.
Greg, do you remember when you were just starting out and you were so optimistic?
Optimistic? Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So it's tough. It's a big transition from not going on air. Here you look up all your stories, you do all your stories on your own. You get a little help here and there. But, you got to find your stories, go shoot your stories, edit your stories, write your scripts.
off of TV. So, it's a lot of hard work, but at the end of the day, when you get to see yourself on television, reporting stories to the viewers at home that they don't know about, and you have a really breaking story that you want them to share, and you can, touch someone at home by what you said on camera, it's really rewarding at the end of the day and something that I love doing.
Mott, I will say this. You're around some great people starting out. I can't put into words just how cool Brad Douglas is. I don't think people realize.
Seriously?
Brad Douglas is one cool kid.
Yes, he is.
Like,
yes, he is.
Off air? Because, he did a lot of radio.
I do notice that he does everything. Like, when y'all have been, down by a weather guy, he's doing weather.
Yeah. I mean, everyone there is nice, generally. I mean, sincerely nice. But Brad is just the coolest guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I have the pleasure of working with Brad every show that we have, I think, except for one.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, he's a great guy. I mean, everyone at WBBJ is great. I was welcomed with open arms from everyone. Kelly McAllister, she really helped train me a lot. Kurt Mullen, who was the sports guy before I stepped in, he was filling in for Justin Walters. So, I mean, everyone that I came in contact with, spoke with, the general manager, everyone. I mean, everyone was nice. No one has been, giving me the tough time because I'm a new guy and I'm messing up. We're working together as a team, one big family, and I can really say that, there is no hatred or, any negativity in our workplace. Everyone gets along. There's no arguments. People love coming to work every day. It may be hard some days. You may have some tough days where, it may get down on you, but you take the good with the bad. And, I mean, we come to work every day because we love doing what we're doing. And the good thing about that is everyone is willing to help me and help me adjust and get adapted here and find the people that I need to get in contact with. So I couldn't have picked a better station to begin my career in because I've been to a couple stations, worked at a couple stations, heard a lot of stories about plenty of other stations and how, there's a lot of hatred at work, and I don't have the pleasure of being around that stuff, so it's really good. I love doing what I'm doing, and I love the people that I work with.
There's a lot of hatred here in this studio.
I mean, I cannot stand Brandon. I'm ready to jump across the table of this guy.
No, everything is good.
One more question, then we'll let you get back to the game there at the Generals. But you've been here 3 weeks?
This will be the beginning of the 4th week. Yes.
Beginning of the 4th week. What is the biggest adjustment you have made, or just the biggest difference you have seen between living in St. Louis and living in the thriving metropolis that is Jackson, Tennessee?
Ooh, that's a toughie.
You mean that they're exactly the same? Is that what you're saying?
It was a big adjustment, definitely. I mean, kind of for myself, I've been in a college town. I was in college the past 5 years,
right.
So it kind of reminds me of Carbondale in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot bigger than Carbondale as a city. The population is way bigger. So, I mean, it's kind of something that I've been used to, but as far as living in St. Louis, what people consider traffic down here in Jackson is just a little congestion. I mean, 15 minutes of traffic. Try having to leave work, home to go to work an hour early than you normally would, just because you have to deal with St. Louis traffic in the morning, which is by no means is worse than Chicago or places like LA, but it's worse than traffic that they call here. And yeah, I mean, it's not much to do as far as I know. Not too many places to choose from, activities to do, but I'm not really a going out type of guy. I like to sit at home and perfect my craft, find out what I can run next week on the air. And like I said, I have a 14-month-old German Shepherd puppy at home who loves to take up all of my time as soon as I get home. He doesn't let me sleep. So he keeps me really, really busy. They don't have a lot of sidewalks here. I've noticed that. So there's not a lot of places for me to walk my dog, so I have to take him to park to walk him, or the Dogtown Park downtown Jackson. But other than that, it's not bad. It's not a bad place to live. It's not a bad place to start. And definitely I could see myself raising a family here if I needed to. It's great people around, great community. And, yeah, I mean, I can't name any bad things about Jackson so far.
So your dog's name is McGuire?
Ace.
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 Very
yes.
good. Very good.
Yes, Ace. So he didn't get any nicknames from any famous athletes.
18 months old, and he's going to go with a guy that played 10 years ago. Really?
He's a lifelong Cardinals fan.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, he loves watching Cardinal baseball with me as well. You know, if that may surprise you, he sits back, you know, watches the TV. Not sure if he's taking in exactly what's going on, but he watches it with me.
All right, well, Ahmad, again, welcome to the area. Good luck to you in your job. Let us know if, you got my number, so let us know if we can help you out at all. So,
all right, and I appreciate you guys having me on your show this afternoon.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
All right, talk to you later.
Thanks, Ahmad.
Bye.
Ahmad Hicks, he's the new sports anchor at WBBJ.
Yeah, and I think we got another call.
Jimmy Butler.
Hey, guys, what's going on, man?
Hey, thanks for waiting, Jimmy.
Hey, no problem. I enjoyed that interview with Ahmad. Sounds like a good guy. He's a Cardinal fan, so he's good on my book, you know that. But it's tickled to death to hear about Donnie Hickey being hired as head coach of the Indians. Heard also as well that he's going to kind of lean on the assistant coaches that are already there and to kind of go through this transition. You guys know as well as I do, not only a new head coach coming in, but with this Vision 2020, the new school lines, going to be a transition period for Northside, and I think that was a wise move to keep some of the guys that have been through that program for the last 2 or 3 years involved as he transitions to this regime after Tap out.
Okay, Jimmy, I want to know, are you a little confused or perplexed that it took 3 months to hire somebody here in Madison County or in West Tennessee?
To a certain extent, yes, but then again, I think they wanted to get this right. I think Principal Bridgman made sure he had everything that he needed in front of him before he made this final decision. We had heard rumors that they had been talking to the assistant coach at USJ, plus a couple of members of the staff there at Northside, and I think they made a wise move, and looking forward to Indian football this fall.
You think he brings in someone with him?
I think he brings, just the fact that he played professional football, I think that will give him immediate respect by these players. They like, this guy has played at the highest level of all, and he's going to try to teach us to be better football players. I think that gives him a leg up on, a leg up with the team just coming into this coming year.
It's interesting. Talked about Jim Tressel brought a family atmosphere into Ohio State. He mentioned Tressel was one of the guys who had an influence on him. Were you able to hear the Chris McNeil interview?
Yes. And remember Chris when he played at Southside, and this is just my opinion. I think he would be better suited to go junior college 1 year and then see what kind of offers come after that. But then again, he mentioned the fact that he could sign with another major college, sit out a year. Sound like he was pretty much kind of in favor of that, just to observe the game from the sideline for a year and then be ready to go. But we'll see. One final question. I know Brandon didn't watch this, but Greg, you might have. Did you watch any of the orange-white scrimmage last Saturday?
I did not.
I don't have cable, so I didn't watch it.
Plus, you don't like to. Why
would that matter?
Well, that's true. You are a sports journalist, so you would watch anyway. But pretty impressed.
Sure.
They had 24 players that did not participate in spring drills due to coming off surgery or nicked up injuries. I understand about half those guys could have played, but Juan Chanton in the spring, not a lot of contact, but Dobbs looked pretty impressive. The backup quarterback, Dorman, he looked pretty good. Actually, the third-team running back, John Kelly, a young man out of Detroit, Michigan, got most of the carries in the ball game. He looked pretty good. Defense looked pretty good. Expectations are for Tennessee to compete, or if not win, the SEC East this year. So now you got to get it done on the field. So we'll see what happens. But just glad to hear Northside got a head football coach. I've been battered for the last 3 months by people. Who's Northside going to name? Has Northside got a coach? No. Who are they looking at? I don't know. Principal Bridgman did a great job of kind of keeping this from being rumored out until a final decision was made. And do know the coach's wife very well. She was a former great athlete at USJ, the former Katie Bush, and played basketball, 2 or 3 other sports, and so I would imagine she likes the fact that she's going to be back close to home and And we'll say good luck to the Indians this fall and see how it goes from there.
Hey, Jimmy, one more question for you before you go.
Okay.
How worried are you that UT's football team got its biggest win of the year this past Saturday?
That's terrible. What a classless thing to say. Classless.
I tell you one game that scares me right off the bat, Brandon.
Florida?
The second game of the year, playing Virginia Tech at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be more worried about Florida. Because I'm pretty sure y'all beaten Virginia Tech in the last 11 years.
Yeah. Well, hey, odds are in our favor this year. Florida.
Odds have been in your favor like the last 3 years, Jimmy. Come on.
We really kind of messed it up big time last year. Should have won that game last year. So
yeah.
That was in the swamp. We're at home this year, so hopefully we'll break that streak and just go from there.
Well, 2016 has not been kind to famous musicians. David Bowie.
Merle Haggard.
Yeah.
Glenn Frey.
Yeah. Now Prince.
Yeah. Someone that today had thoughts that I didn't realize he was that old. I said, just think back. I watched Purple Rain when the movie came out in the early 80s when they still had the Paramount and the Malco downtown Jackson. Now, Brandon didn't even know what we're talking about, Greg, but it used to be two movie theaters kind of cross-corner from the courthouse. I watched that movie there. So that's been 35 years ago. So, yeah, he
57? He was 57.
Yeah.
So, I'm a great musician. I enjoyed all his music and actually got a CD here in the car with. But we'll let y'all guys go. Have a good night, and we'll talk to you later on down the road. All
right, see you, Jimmy.
Brandon, we have one more interview.
Yep.
Do you want to give us some indication who that is?
I was listening to the song. Apparently, I need to listen to Prince.
Oh, really, you do. I bet Donnie Nicky doesn't like this song.
Why?
Purple Rain, Northwestern.
I don't think he lost to him. He might have.
Yeah, he might have. Fitzgerald was playing, so they made the Rose Bowl run. Was that 95? So that maybe
96.
Maybe that would have been before him.
Yeah, that was before him. He got there in 98. Yeah. But they were still decent back then.
Who do we have?
Anyways, next interview, we will end the show with an interview with Matthew Gillespie. He is an assistant executive director of the TWSAA. We talked for a few minutes about the process of reclassification and how that happens, because this is the year that they'll figure out how schools be reclassified starting in the fall of 2017 for 4 years. So,
I'm not playing this on YouTube. This was already on my phone. Brandon, you are impossible. We'll be right back.
You stay, they go. HTP Pest Control.
When pests are your problem, HTP Termite and Pest Control is your solution. Their services include pest control inside and out, termite lifetime warranties with the proven Centricon system, and moisture barriers for crawl spaces. But as good as their services are, the main reason for calling HTP Termite and Pest Control is how they value their customers. HTP offers convenience in the scheduling of their services, payment options like bank drafts, all credit cards accepted, and they can now accept online payments at htppest.com. Call 1-800-836-8941 today and let HTP show you just why they're not the same old pest control company. 1-800-836-8941. HTP Termite and Pest Control.
You stay, they go. HTP Pest Control.
When that hunger pain just won't go away, stop by Wendy's in Huntington, Paris, or Martin. Wendy's has the all-new Dave's Hot and Juicy that will fill the heartiest of appetites. Don't forget to top it off with a Frosty, Frosty Shake, or Frosty Float. Take your hunger to Wendy's in Huntington, Paris, or Martin. Before or after the game, they're open late to serve you. That's Wendy's in Huntington, Paris, and Martin. Take your hunger to Wendy's.
Parties and gifts are good surprises, but when it comes to your finances, the word surprise rarely means something good. Hi, I'm Edward Jones Financial Advisor Nick Prudy. A job loss, change in health, or loss of a loved one can be unexpected and emotional and could potentially impact your long-term financial goals. But at Edward Jones, we don't predict. We prepare. So when life surprises, you'll be ready. Stop by our office on the Court Square in Huntington for a face-to-face appointment. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Since 1823, Union University has been characterized by both its academic excellence and its Christian commitment. One of the top private universities in the nation, Union is widely recognized for its academic quality and exceptional value. In a close-knit learning community, Union prepares students to think, to create, and to excel in top graduate schools and professions around the world. Give us one day. Come experience Union for yourself.
Welcome back to Varsity Focus Live with former sports guy Greg Hammond and former Florence, Alabama Little League All-Star Brandon Shields.
Welcome back in, one and all, to Varsity Focus Live, our final segment of the night, and it is a good one. We're visiting with Matthew Gillespie. Brandon, Matthew is a very important man in West Tennessee sports. I'm talking to you.
Yes, he is very important. He's important because a lot of the information that comes from the TSSAA and flows through the newspapers, radio stations, and TV stations of the state goes through him. And so, yeah, I think we talk a little bit about that, unless you cut that part of the interview out. And
way to throw me under the bus, Brandon.
Yeah, no problem. You did cut part of that interview out, did you?
I don't know.
Okay. But yeah, so here is Matthew Gillespie talking a little bit about reclassification, and we talk a little bit about the JCM closing situation there toward the end as well. And we are here with Matthew Gillespie. He is one of the is your official title Assistant Executive Director or Associate Executive Director of the TSSAA?
Assistant Executive Director.
Assistant Executive Director, TSSAA, Matthew Gillespie, and I'm not sure about everything that's part of his job description. I know that dealing with all the jerks in the local media across the state is big part of Matthew's job. But Matthew, we thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Happy to join you, and it's always a pleasure dealing with you, Brandon. We've known each other for quite a few years now, but yeah, dealing with the media is probably one of my main responsibilities, and it's one I've had from day one when I started the office in 1999, and I still deal with that today. Things have changed over the years, but that's one thing that's stayed in place, and I'm certainly glad it has.
Yeah, and about that part, I mean, just from that perspective of your job, let's say a week or a month, how many times are you having to deal with, I'm calling you up, asking, like last week I was calling you asking about referee numbers for a story I had in Sunday's paper. I know Tom Krieger over the paper in Murfreesboro, I think he's pretty much got you as one of his favorites in his cell phone. How often are you having to deal with at least somebody, if not everybody, from the media across the state?
It's usually a daily basis thing, but at certain times of the year are certainly a little busier than others. This time of the year actually April is probably our slowest month during the school year of the year, just due to the fact that we don't have any championship events that occur in April. Of course, the fall is very busy. We get going pretty early with that, with golf in September, and that carries into October, and then you've got volleyball and cross country in November, and girls soccer, and then football playoffs into the football championship. So that keeps you pretty steady there. And then when we come back after Christmas, we start the end of January with bowling and roll right into wrestling and 3 weeks of basketball in March. So it's April really is about the only month we don't have something going on during the school year. August we don't have anything. August used to kind of be considered summer, not so much anymore with when school starts. So many schools start usually first day of school is pretty early in August. When you and I were growing up and in school, it was probably around Labor Day, but it seems to have backed up over the years, and that's fine. But August is pretty crazy for us because everybody's getting into school. You get a lot of transfer questions. You got everybody doing eligibility, things like that. So it's not, obviously there's, my daily dealings with the media, which I certainly enjoy, and that picks up more around, tournament time when people have questions about tournaments or games or needing credentials or whatever. But, there's still always just, standard calls, whether an issue's come up or somebody just has a question that occur every day. So it keeps us hopping, but certainly enjoy it.
Speaking of which, you just reminded me that I lost my press pass for the state championships event, so I'll be getting contact with you between now and spring fling.
Well, we will see what we can do there, Brandon.
If not, hopefully the paper will reimburse me if I just have to pay to get into all the events I cover.
We'll work something out, I'm sure.
But the big reason I wanted to get you on here is because the 2016-17 school year would be the last year of the current classification system for the TSSAA, right?
That's correct, yes. We're entering, next year will be the final year of the current 4-year classification period.
So, so the reclassification will actually happen over the course of the next, 7-8 months?
Yeah, actually probably even, that's probably about right. What we'll do, the Board of Control meets 5 times a year. The next scheduled meeting is in June. We always have a June meeting. It's an extended meeting where they, obviously have standard board business that's covered, but also for things like classification or anything coming up, we've got extra time. It's about a 2 or 3 day meeting we do in Murfreesboro. It used to rotate east, middle, and west, but they've kind of locked it down to Murfreesboro as a central location for that. So they'll get together, and this June meeting we'll be discussing classification extensively. No decisions will be made at that meeting, but it'll be let's get the groundwork going, and a lot of that's already done already. But they'll be discussing, potential plans, the structure, things like that. You won't be looking at, all right, who's going into this district? Are we moving this school from this region to that region or anything like that? That won't be discussed at this meeting. It'll be more the general structure of classification. Are we staying with 6 in football? There's proposals out there to expand from 3 to they want us to, put plans together to look at what would basketball and baseball look like at 4, at 5, at 6. So you look at all that, and our job as a staff is to provide as much information as we can to put in front of the board. So we'll have multiple printouts and plans and everything they've requested from us, which, again, the beauty of the process is that comes from their constituents that they represent, their member schools that are in their district. That's the feedback they've heard over the years of, hey, this is what we'd really like to see. Would it be feasible to do 4 sports across the board or move basketball, baseball, softball to 5 or whatever it may be? There's so many different scenarios out there, and show them, all right, hey, if classification, if we did this today, here's what it would look like. Here's what the breakdown would be as things stand today. And here's, probably what we would be recommending in regards to, all right, these schools will be in this district and that district. So they'll look at that in June and probably, again, I don't think any decisions will be made in June, but it'll give them a lot of things to discuss and to take back to the schools in their district and say, all right, look, guys, we looked at this, and there ain't no way this one's going to work. Or, hey, here's what we think is ideal. We want to get your feedback. Is that what everybody in my district wants? Now, of course, the board, they're charged with 2 things. One, represent the member schools in your district. They're the ones you're actually representing. But also, they do and have done a good job over the years representing all member schools across the state. So obviously you represent the member schools in your district that you're elected from, but also they're charged to make the best decision for all approximate 400 member schools from one end of the state to the other. So they've got a lot on their plate. They'll do that in June, and then we'll move into August, where, again, no decision I don't think will be made, but further discussion. Then in October, late September, October, we will gather enrollment figures. And that's part of the reason no decisions can be made up till then. we will get the fall 20-day enrollment figures from the State Department of Education for all the schools, and we will get the enrollment figures from the independent schools. And that is when we can really start working. All right, here's the true numbers we're going off of, because obviously enrollments change every year. Right. Most schools it's not going to change drastically, but for those that do, that's why we have the 2-year period where if it's a 20% change or more, they can change in classification, which is just a handful of schools each time. But you've got things like, and I know you and I have discussed this briefly, but with JCM closing, that will have a pretty pretty big impact on the enrollment figures at a lot of schools in the Jackson area. And does it, bump some of them up? Does it keep, it may not affect enough any of them to change classifications. And again, then you go to, well, what's the classification structure going to be? So there's a lot of unknowns right now, but when we get all those figures in September, and then you've got independent schools declaring if they're going to remain in Division I. We do have a number of schools that are private schools that are in Division I that choose not to offer need-based financial aid. That's why they can remain in there. But, of course, some of those rules have changed with recent action from the Legislative Council. So they'll have some decisions to make. Are we moving over to Division II, stay in Division I, which that could affect the structure of classification as well. So a lot of stuff going on over the next few months. And then I would say at the November meeting would be when all those decisions would be made. People will know, all right, here's where we are, here's our district, here's our region, here's who we're playing with, things like that for the next 4-year period. So as you can see, it's a lot, and that's why we don't do classification every 2 years like we used to. It's just such a massive undertaking. The board years ago voted this needs to be a 4-year deal and let there be some consistency with it, and so that's it. Kind of in a nutshell, tried to give you the shortened version of it. I know I rambled a little bit there, but that's a lot going on in classification in the next coming months for sure.
So, will y'all wait, or I guess the Board of Control, the Legislative Council, whoever, y'all will wait until y'all get the enrollment numbers before y'all decide, okay, we're going to have 6 classes in football and 3 classes everywhere else, or
don't have to. They certainly could, but I think there will be a good feel. And of course, I can't speak for the board because they could vote to take action in August. Wouldn't do that in June by any means. Yeah. But at the August meeting, they certainly could make a decision in regards to structure because we know the total number of member schools we're going to have, and we'll have a good feel for. And we'll give them multiple plans. All right, here's what Division I would look like if all the independent schools choose to go to Division II, or so they'll get a look at that and kind of know the numbers and how the breakdown would be. We'd have, if we keep 6 classes in football and 22 independent schools move over to Division II, well, you're losing 22, 23 schools. So now that makes your class sizes a lot smaller, but they'll have a feel for what those numbers will be and where those lines will be drawn. Now, who falls into what category and what line, the ones that are close, we won't know for sure because those numbers could certainly change based on the enrollment figures from those 20-day enrollment figures that we'll get in September. So they could certainly make a decision regarding the structure in regards to the number of classes in August. I wouldn't be surprised one bit if they did. But again, also they may say, look, we really want to know, a little bit more and wait till later. But I think going into November, you kind of want to have a feel for the structure so we as a staff can be doing the work and putting, the proposals or however you want to put it or just a general starting point for the board in place to where they can look and then make changes and decisions from there.
I had never heard of even the option of possibly expanding the number of classes in basketball until after Greg Scott had been elected as one of the Board of Control members for the assistant principal in Milan. Is this an idea that has come up before and it's just coming up again, or will this be a first time for y'all to really discuss it?
It's multiple classes, and additional classes in sports other than football has been brought up before. Of course, everyone knows everything we've done outside of football in Division I has been A, AA, and AAA. Then you get some sports where A and AA are combined, such as golf. Volleyball was for a few years now. It's A, AA, and AAA separate. But there's been discussion in recent classification meetings before of looking at, we've heard 4 across the board in every sport before. We've heard, 6 in basketball and all those sports and things like that. But what you look at, and that's why the board will want to see, all right, what's it going to look like? How many schools are we going to have? Say we do 4 across the board. Now, let's say that's one of the plans that's put together and put out there for them to look at. You look at the structure in regards to, all right, obviously you're going to have fewer schools in each district. And that also may create additional travel, not additional travel, but further travel if you've got fewer schools. So that's one thing. All right, hey, does it change drastically enough to where it wouldn't be good to expand? Or, hey, it's not that drastic that, and this would be feasible. It doesn't create that much. This looks like something we could do and that our member schools want to do. So that'll be what they're looking at. But no, it's nothing new as far as actually really looking at it really hard. I don't think going beyond AAA and AAA has been a very extensive discussion in years past. But I think this year it certainly will be considered a little more than in years past for sure, and we'll see what comes of it after all the plans are laid out and then the discussions had with the board. You could see any variety of things from everything stays as it is. You could see an increase in classes in certain sports, an increase in classes in all sports. You never know, so it'll be interesting certainly in the next few board meetings to see what direction they decide to go.
And I'm just sitting here thinking about it. I mean, looking at basketball championship weeks and spring fling, expanding to 4 or 5, even 6 classes would drastically change all of those week schedules, wouldn't they?
Well, yeah, and I think that's another factor that would be part of the effect of increasing classes. I don't think it would be feasible to continue to bring 8 schools in each class to the central tournament site in any sport, really. And the ones that you look at the way we do it, you're probably looking at having to go to 4. Whether you go 4 classes, 5 classes, or 6 classes, it just physically could not be done in the way we set our tournaments and schedules up currently right now. So that certainly would be an effect, and some people cherish that opportunity to get there and be one of those 8 in the class to represent, but some may see it as a hey, it's okay if we're going to 4 because now we're doing it in more classes. They may still view it as having the same opportunity of getting that far. So it really just it's going to be how they weigh those options and deciding, hey, if we have to sacrifice this, is it worth expanding? And the answer may be yes. But some may say, look, as much as we want to expand, if we've got to reduce the number that are going, then it's not worth it to us. So it just depends on, what it's going to look like and what the structure would be and what the effects of those changes would be. That'll certainly be factors in the decision-making process for sure.
Yeah. Okay, well, that will definitely be, I'm sure I'll be traveling some roads between Jackson and Murfreesboro over the next few months, covering some of those, if not all of those meetings. But
I was going to say, I imagine you'll be at as many meetings of those coming up soon as I will, Brandon.
Hopefully, if my bosses allow it. So, well, kind of transitioning over, I mean, you mentioned it a few minutes ago. We do have JCM closing next month here in West Tennessee. How much does, obviously for next year it's going to affect, I've done stories about all the teams in Region 7 3A in football trying to find a new team to play, replacing JCM on their schedule. For y'all as an organization, does that have an effect other than just losing one of 400 schools in their membership area?
It does have an effect, but not as big for us as it would, like you mentioned, for the schools there locally, because now they're they're searching for that other opponent. It's a school that was probably a major rival for a lot of schools just historically for how long they've been there, and you're going to see just everybody in your area that's played them in years past is used to seeing JCM on the schedule, whether it's football, basketball, whatever it may be, and they're not going to be there anymore. So it's certainly probably more of a direct effect there on the local level. But for us, obviously, you lose a member school, you certainly hate to see that, but it's not the first time it's happened, whether it's because of consolidation or whatever it may be. The structure of schools across the state has certainly changed. You certainly, in a lot of areas, have seen new schools pop up and built at very crazy levels, and then how quick they come up because of how quick certain areas are growing and the need for more schools. And a lot of times that'll be like, where I live in Murfreesboro, Siegel and Blackman were built, over a decade ago, but they still, to some people, seem like new schools. And then you had Stewart's Creek built just a couple of years ago, and then 3-4 years from now we're going to have another high school built there. So it's when a new one opens, and then you'll see the opposite effect here. When a new one opens, you see some of those enrollment figures at other schools kind of diminish a little bit, and that's the reason they open, is to help relieve those figures and the crowding at a lot of schools, and you get the rezoning. But then when you get one that closes, then those students have to disperse out to schools. So you'll see there a lot of schools in that area, their numbers rise a little bit. So it'll be more of an effect on us and the way things are dealt with in looking at classification coming up that we're about to start discussing, because those enrollment figures that we'll gather, the 20-day enrollment figures in September, I would say would be, certainly different than what they're used to seeing the past year or two at a lot of schools there. So you'll have extra students going to those schools, and so that'll certainly probably be the more noticeable change on our end, will be how it affects enrollments for schools in that area.
Yeah. All right. Well, Matthew, appreciate you taking a few minutes to talk with us.
Brandon, happy to do it. Always a pleasure getting together with you, and can't thank you guys enough there at the Jackson Sun and everybody there in that area for you guys do an outstanding job on giving high school sports the coverage that it deserves, whether it's football, basketball, or golf or soccer, whatever the sport may be. You guys have always done an outstanding job on covering those kids and their events, whether it's regular season or postseason. So we thank you for everything you guys do.
Yeah, no problem. We enjoy doing it, so might as well just keep doing it.
Yes, sir.
All right, but I guess I'll, if I don't see you before then, I'll be seeing you in, about a month or so?
Yep, be about a month or so. We'll be doing Spring Fling starting May 23rd, that Monday in Murfreesboro, run for a full week, and it's an exciting week. It's a crazy week, but it's a good one. And it's always a little better if it can be sunny and 75 every day, but we can't get that. But we've been pretty fortunate the past couple of years, knock on wood, and hopefully get good weather again this year.
I'll be honest with you. I don't care what the temperature is as long as it's sunny.
That's right. I'd rather have it hot 90 degrees than having it 75 and raining, that's for sure.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right. Matthew, appreciate it. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate it.
See you.
Brandon Shields in a very fun interview with Matthew Gillespie. Just the talk simply of the possibility of expanding the basketball classification.
Mm-hmm.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of late to kind of get into whether or not you or I agree with possible expansion or anything like that, but
sounds like a Show 42 topic.
Yeah, maybe we should do that. The Jackie Robinson Show.
Oh. Speaking of baseball.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of baseball, we got breaking news on the West Tennessee local front. We talked a little bit last hour with Jim. I almost said Jim Reeves. He's a dead country singer. Jim Steele.
You're terrible.
about Drew Hayes getting called up to the big leagues in Cincinnati. Well, while this interview was being played just now, Drew got his first MLB experience. So, yeah, we'll be following along with that.
Go to Reds.com. They're in the 7th inning. Well, he won't worry about this one, but the Cubs are up 9-0 in the 7th.
Okay. Over Cincinnati?
Yeah. But hey, you get in when you get in.
Yeah.
And usually, I mean,
tonight, he's a pitcher, so it doesn't matter. I mean, it's not on him whether or not they score 9 runs in the next 3 innings.
That's right. Brandon, it's been an eventful show. Final thoughts?
Big night.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times we look at April and as one of the slow times of the year in sports, and then, you know, May it kind of picks up with, you know, spring sports postseason and spring fling, and then the summer is kind of the slow time again. But the last couple of years have proven that April and the summer are just as busy as basketball season, football season.
It's the end of Purple Rain.
Okay.
It's very dramatic.
Obviously. Well,
you were saying Shields. I didn't mean throw you off the game.
The track just got obliterated. So, on my train of thought. So,
it's typically a slow time, but now it is not.
Nope. Definitely not today. Last couple of days. So, yeah, good time.
So we can read about Northside's new head football coach in the Jackson Sun.
Right.
We can read about Drew Hayes, depending on how long the game goes.
Right.
Tomorrow in the Jackson Sun. Of course, we can follow you online at
www.jacksonsun.com. We also have a mobile app, and you can follow me on Twitter at JSEditorBrandon. Between myself and Michael Odom, JS Writer Michael, you pretty much get all of your local sports needs met on the Twitters through those.
This has been Varsity Focus Live, show 41. For Brandon Shields, for our phone screener, Phil.
It's Phil this week?
Yes, it's Phil this week.
Okay.
We hope you enjoyed the show.
Excuse me.
We'll see you next week.
See ya.
There's something special about Hardin County. Maybe it's the way the river bends at Savannah. Maybe it's the historic homes or the battlefield at Shiloh. Legend has it, once you put your feet in the water at Hardin County, you'll